see I am a law-abiding citizen. On Thanksgiving Day? Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker. And today I'm talking about, this is weird how empty this is, how I can't read and how I made a mistake. And also happy Thanksgiving. If this is as far as you watch in the video and you're American, I know obviously this is a huge day on the calendar for Americans, so happy Thanksgiving. You can see there's a whole place, like this is Clayton, there is nobody here. This is crazy. There's just nobody here, but well, apart from them trying to sell you something, I don't know what they are. Maybe it's I saw rising prices, so maybe it's about houses. Anywho, right, back to the topic at hand. I can't read, right? I made a video about the 2026 Z900RS over the last week or two, and it did quite well. So number one, thank you to everyone who watched that, and thank you to all the new subscribers who came directly from that video. I do appreciate you. Well, I appreciate the fact that you enjoyed the video enough to hit subscribe, so thank you. Secondly, I had to update my pinned comment very quickly, actually, because I was like, I was thinking about it the whole time, and I was like, it still doesn't really make sense that they didn't update anything in the engine and talk about it. So I went back and I even went back through my search history, and I cannot find, so I can't find any article that I read that said everything was unchanged. So I think I actually just misread something. And instead of reading, oh, they changed the things we'll talk about in a sec, I just read it as they didn't change anything, which, you know, I've never been the best at English. If you've been following along the channel for a long time, you'll know that. But this one was egregious, even for me. So, and once again, just for any policia watching, look, see, law-abiding non-citizen. gimme citizenship. But yeah, so basically, you know, I said in it, like, the bore and stroke haven't changed, which the bore and stroke have not changed for the engine, and the displacement hasn't changed. However, they have changed the compression ratio, and they have changed the actual cams. So there's now a higher lift, longer duration cam in there. And if you don't know much about engines, higher lift and longer duration just means that essentially we're gonna have more power, like, up high in the rev range, right? When did that happen? I thought I was on this road recently. What? Jeez. Anyway, so what that means is you're gonna have more power living up higher in the rev range, and then as soon as we get out of, you know, industrial residential areas like this, I'll show you where the power already is on this bike, and I have had this tuned, so I do have slightly more power up high than stock, but they're basically moving that even higher. Now, I'll get to if I think that's a good thing in a second, but you know, that has already actually been done by people. People would change out the stock cams for Z900 cams, so this is the RS. They would get the standard Z900 cams, which has quite a bit more peak power, and then they'd also put in a thinner head gasket to up the compression ratio. And I think probably the person who covered that best, I believe, was Two Wheel Dyno Works. He tuned the bike that was handed to him to make those modifications and also tune it and make it work. So I think there's a good video on that in Two Wheel Dyno Works, which is a great channel anyway, if you have any interest in tuning and engines and whatnot. But what I will say is, I'm not sure, is it particularly a good thing? Because, like, if you look right now, we're sitting just under 4,000 RPM at like 45 miles an hour in fifth gear, and I roll on and it pulls, right? And the reason it does that is because of how this particular bike is tuned and everything else. Now, number one, even tuned, this bike is able to run 89 octane fuel, which for people in Europe and whatnot right now cringing at the terrible octane rating, it's not the same, right? So, like, over here, I think 93 is equivalent to 97, so 91 is equivalent to 95. So 89 is slightly worse. But also, like, I mean, if you can run it on cheaper fuel and it doesn't hurt it, you know, you're going to run it on cheaper fuel and it doesn't hurt it. And that's a whole other conversation that actually, by going to a higher compression ratio, obviously you have to use a higher octane fuel, because that's how diesels work, right? You compress diesel fuel so much that it explodes. So by adding more compression to petrol or gasoline, it's, you know, more. It's gonna be more inclined to knock or ping or whatever you want to call it, right? As far as I'm aware, I'm a mechanical engineer. I don't understand fuels as much as I would like to, but that's my very basic understanding of it, right? So do I think that this change is a good thing, say? Because I know there's a lot of people interested in said change. I don't think it's a bad change. I think it is going to change the power profile of how the bike rides. And just to show you really quick, well, before that car gets too close, we'll just... All the power, woo! All the power already lives quite high up. Like, well, if you want to get into the real power, you gotta rev this bike up. You know, above 6,000-7,000, it really wakes up, especially above 6. But it's also like it's not crazy harsh. You know that. So basically, if you look, and I'll put it on screen now, the dyno map for this bike with its current tune. It's not like a crazy harsh rise or anything. Like, you know, you'll see cars that basically make no power. They have huge turbos, so the lag is massive, and then they make all the power above 7, but they only make it for 2,000 RPM. This bike doesn't feel like that, and higher lift will probably feel a bit like that, but longer duration, you know, might also. So basically, our cam, the tippy top of your cam profile is going to be taller, essentially, right? But longer duration means that tippy top is also wider. So I'm going to be really. I'm really interested to see that first dyno run on the 2026 Z900RS, because I really want to see how that actual power and torque curve look. Now, the torque has also changed with the peak torque occurring higher up. And again, is that a bad thing? Maybe. But we're going to have to wait for that dyno sheet, to be honest, because there's no real way to tell without seeing the dyno sheet, because a dyno sheet will tell you how the bike is gonna feel out in the road, per se. You know what I mean? You can have a bike that has 200 brake horsepower, but actually that only lasts for 500 RPM. Now I'm being obviously exaggerating, that's unlikely to exist. But say you have a bike that's 200 brake horsepower and that only lasts for between 10,000 and 10,500 RPM, and all the other time you have 30 brake horsepower, a bike's gonna not feel great, right? A max of 30 horsepower, and then just jumps all of a sudden. It's gonna be terrifying, right? It's gonna be like an old two-stroke that's absolutely on all of the steroids that has ever been given to a motorcycle, right? That's what that's going to feel like. So you really need to see the power and torque curve on a dyno sheet to kind of get a good sense of how the bike is going to ride on the road. Obviously, the earlier you kind of get up close to your peaks, and then the flatter the line is afterwards, the smoother the bike's going to feel. Like the Valkyrie, while all of its peaks occur higher up in the rev range, it's essentially a flat line, right? Which is a 1500cc 6-cylinder engine, right? And that's why, you know, like V4s are what's in MotoGP, because you don't have. Yeah, obviously the power does occur very high. The peak power occurs high up, but it's not just high up. We're going here. Just as an addition, jumping in here, I'm serious when you can ride this. I'm 6th gear at like 2,300 revs, and you roll on and it'll pull, you know, no problem. So that's something I'm very interested to see. Does that carry through to the engine changes that they have made in the 2026 model? I hope so, because it makes this a very rideable, you know, everyday bike, which I hope it doesn't lose, because I think a lot of people have used these and a lot of people have put mileage on them, and I'd hate to see it lose that kind of usability. Yeah. So yeah, I did miss that. I apologize that I missed that, because it actually is a pretty important piece of the update to the bike. That is my bad entirely. I don't know, is it late at night when I was reading it? Either way, no real excuse. I missed it, and I'm not a journalist or anything, so I don't think it's not the end of the world. I just make YouTube videos for fun. But either way, I did miss it. I do apologize, and if you want to hear my thoughts on all the other changes of the bike, please do go watch the full video, because I did speak about other things that I think are important as well, like the electronics updates and whatnot. But I don't want to make this video too long, because I am going to try edit this today and get it out on Thanksgiving, so I can say Happy Thanksgiving to all my American peoples, or people who celebrate Thanksgiving elsewhere. I'm not sure where that would be, but there you go. And like I said before in a video last year, I do like the concept of Thanksgiving, you know, like if people actually practice it. Like if you sit down, because I think that's very healthy, by the way, mentally. I think it's to sit down and be like, right, I'm not, you know, it's maybe these things are bad, but what's good? I think it's actually, it's really valuable to go through the stuff that's good as well, right? So yeah, I think the intent, the modern intent of Thanksgiving, which is literally, you know, well, from how I understand it, it's giving thanks with family and friends and whatever else, and talking about what you're thankful for. Nice cars. Nice cars. I think that's a really good thing to do for mental health and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's good. That's good. But either way, if you are someone who does celebrate Thanksgiving, I'm obviously not. Toasters and work today, and I'm just out on my bike. I have a day off though, so I mean, I'm pretty thankful for that. But either way, I hope you enjoy it if you celebrate it. And I hope if you saw the main video and you were like, Michael, you big silly goose, how did you not know that? It's literally because I did read lots of articles on it. I just somehow missed it. So like I said, I do apologize for that if I confused someone who watched it, and I hope you can forgive me. Either way though, the last thoughts I'll say on the difference in cam and compression ratio is I am very excited to see, number one, how that stock torque and power map looks, and also what tuners like Two Wheel Dynoworks are able to do with that bike, because I think they're going to be able to do, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to make it maybe more tunable, maybe faster, maybe with some other things that SE is in my future, and I can use it on track and see is it fast. But anyway, that's it. If you've watched, thank you very much for watching. Special thank you as always to all of my patrons. Happy Thanksgiving, and yeah, that's it. Leave me a comment, say hello, I do appreciate it. Adios. Very nice. This bike is so nice when you get onto a nice chunk of road. It's such a nice bike. You should buy a Z900RS, highly recommend.